Good morning, students. Welcome to English Balbharti class. Children, today we are going to see a poem from your unit 3rd, that is 3.4, Ledger, written by William Henry Davies. Before I start with the actual lesson, let me give you a simple background of the poem, that is the summary of the poem, and let us see what is this poem trying to tell us. So, first let us see about the poet. William Davies is an American poet and singer. Through this poem is trying to explain the biggest problem of today's life. Children, as we all are aware that today each and every individual is so occupied and busy with their day-to-day work to achieve the larger objectives in life that we forget to notice the smaller things in life and the happiness which can derive out of these smaller things. The poet William tells us that the beauty of nature is essential to be noticed. It's very important. But today, nobody has the time to stop for a minute and observe the extraordinary pleasure in ordinary things, such as standing under the trees and witnessing its beauty, just like the common animals, cows and sheep do. When we get up early in the morning, we fail to notice that there is a new beautiful day waiting for us. All we are interested in is conducting our daily jobs and work. What do you say, children? Don't we do this? Yes, we do. The moment we get up, we don't go in our balcony or we don't open our window and try to look out. In fact, we just rush to the washroom and start brushing our teeth, or getting ready for our school or for offices or for whatsoever purpose. That means he is right. Whatever he is trying to convey through this poem is absolutely correct. Let us see what he says further. He says, human beings in fact today are similar to a machine. We get up at a fixed alarm time in order to reach our schools, colleges and offices on time, as I told you before. We have fixed lunch time, we have fixed breakfast time, we have fixed dinner time. We want to do everything on time. And today, on a very sad note, I have to tell that people also have separate time allotted for their family members. Means, in short, they are not available for their family members whenever the members want. They are available only on those fixed timing. And yes, children, William is absolutely correct. In our house, you might get to see that your dads might be coming at fixed timing and they have that 15 minutes or I can say 30 minutes to communicate or to interact with you, and then they are again back to their work related to house chores or something, off track. And that's the life we are living. He says, can you all call such an individual a human being? No, we cannot, my dear children, because we individual is obviously a machine program to carry out our work on the allotted time. And that's what he's trying to tell us through this poem. Now I will take you to the actual poem and I'll read the stanzas for you and we'll also explain you simultaneously. But before starting with the actual poem, I would like you all to take a glance of the poem. Children, if you notice, the poem consists of 7 stanzas. Each stanza has 2 lines, and when you have two lines, such 2 lines are called as couplets. And that was all what I wanted to tell before starting the poem. And so let us start the actual poem. I am reading out the stanzas and explaining you. So here I start. What is this life if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? Children, through this line, the poet is trying to show us, you know, that we live a rushing life. The poet says that we cannot call this life a pure life because it is full of worries and anxieties. We are all the time surrounded by worries. Now, here, care means worries and anxiety. Okay. We have no time to stand at a certain place and look carefully at the nature. That's what he is trying to tell us in the first two lines, my dear children. Let's see the other two lines, that is, other couplet. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. Here he says, even we cannot spare a few moments to stand under the branches of green trees and enjoy the beautiful shades of the trees. He's saying we don't have time to stand under the branches of the tree. Here, under is the meaning for beneath, okay? And bough is the meaning for branches. I hope it is clear now. The common animals like sheep and cows are better than us because they enjoy their life. We cannot look at the common animals when they are like sheep and cows, when they are grazing in the field, because we are all the time committed with worldly affairs, worldly things unnecessarily, and we cannot enjoy nature and the natural beauty spread all around us. So sad thing the poet is trying to tell us, or I can say he's bringing, or the real image of our life is trying to show us the real life to us, which we live, no doubt we live, but we don't realize that we are living this life. Going to the next couplet. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. Children, here woods means forest. Here in these lines, the poet tells us that when we pass through some forest, we do not have time to stop for some moments to look at the trees, tall and short, and enjoy their natural beauty. The dark green trees provide a soothing effect, but we are always sick and cannot enjoy this simple beauty, Also, we cannot look at the small animals like squirrels who hides their food grain in the grass for the winter. These minor things are avoided by us. But he says, if you see these minor things, these all things will try to give you happiness. These all things will try to give you relief from your day-to-day stress. But we hardly see all this. Going to the next couplet. No time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. Children, here the poet says that human being cannot see the beauty that is hidden in the streams. Now, my dear children, you know what is stream. Streams means water bodies. During daytime, when the sunlight fall upon the clear stream water, the water reflects and shine like stars in the sky during night. Yes, sometimes stream water appears very clear, and it appears so beautiful that even stones beneath the water, under the water, can be observed, which look like stars in the clear blue water. This scene also resembles the stars shining in the sky at night. Moving to the next couplet. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. Children, here beauty means a beautiful young girl. So the poet says that we are so unlucky that we cannot watch a girl who is dancing in the field. The feet of the dancing girl are very attractive, but we cannot spare time to look at these feet as how they dance. This dancing girl can also amuse us, can also attract us with her performance. but we have no time. Let us see, it's continued in the next couplet. No time to wait till her mouth can unreach that smile her eyes began. He says in sadness that we have no time to wait for the words the mouth of the dancing girl has to utter, as a sort of smile has appeared in her eyes. But we cannot wait for such time as the words from her eyes are transferred to her lips. Those words can amuse us. Children, here the poet uses personification. Now we all know, we have learned personification, that is a figure of speech in our grammar. Personification is nothing but a poetic device to explain the natural beauty scattered all around us. So here the poet personifies beauty as a young beautiful dancing girl. Okay, he says the beauty of nature is personified as a young beautiful dancing girl who is having a smiling face. I hope you have followed this. Yes, actually there is not a girl dancing. He's saying that the beauty of nature is dancing, where he has compared, he has given a human quality of a girl to the beauty of nature. I hope it's clear. Yes, going to the next couplet. A poor life this is, full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. In these concluding line, the poet regrets and says that I feel sorry to say that ours is a very poor life. We are not living a rich life. Of course, we might be living a rich life, but in the terms of money, in the terms of relaxation, we are very, very poor. In terms of getting refreshed, we are very poor, because we are all the time full of loaded with all worries and anxieties and stress. So we are poor, we are not rich. In a way, it cannot be life if it is full of cares and worries. He says, if your life is full of worries and anxiety, then this is not a life. This is not called a life. We are not human beings, as if we are machines. Unluckily, we have no time to stand at the place and look carefully at the nature that can refresh us. As such, our life is nothing. Our life is nothing. Our life is worthless, meaningless. Why are we living such life when we have got this beautiful, birth only for once? Then what is the use of living in such a way? We must live to the fullest. We must enjoy to the fullest. And we must live a real life. This is all nothing. This is not a life, he is trying to say. Further, he says, as human beings, we should spare some moments and look at the nature and natural beauty spread around us, and we must enjoy life, because that is what life is. And in this way, the poet has concluded the poem by giving us a very powerful message, that he is trying to tell us that think on it and try to change our life. This is not the aim or motto of our life. And in this way, I take your leave, my dear children. I hope you have followed the poem. Meet you soon in your next lecture. Till then, take care and stay safe. Thank you.